What's good, everybody? Welcome to the Pull Up Show. My name is BJ Matthews, aka B. Just before we get started, follow us on the YouTube page, the Pull Up Basketball Podcast. Like, share, subscribe all of our YouTube videos by hitting that notification bell by the subscribe button. As well, if you'd like to donate to the Pull Up Basketball Podcast, you can do so through our Cash App, $BJ Matthews, $BJ Matthews. I'll put that into the pinned comment so y'all can donate that way. Let's get it popping. So, we got another good episode for y'all right now. You know what I'm saying? We're going to keep it very short, you know what I mean? Short video for y'all. We're going to talk about Ja Morant, the Memphis Grizzlies, who are sitting at 20-13, third in the Western Conference. Ja Morant being one of the most explosive young athletes in the game today, under the age of 25. Guys with, guys like Devin Booker, Trae Young, Zion Williamson, Luka Doncic, Jason Tatum, all the great young stars, you know what I'm saying, under 25. Ja Morant's obviously in that group. He's had success in the playoffs in the Memphis Grizzlies the last couple seasons. Them, taking the Warriors to six games last year. Catching the eye of a lot of people in the NBA, and they've been a top seed in the Western Conference the last two seasons. So it's an exciting time for the Memphis Grizzlies, right? Ja Morant made some comments. I talked about this on one of my last videos. He made some comments with ESPN reporter Malika Andrews of NBA Countdown. Sat down with an interview with Malika Andrews and stated that he's not worried about anyone in the West. And the only team he's really concerned about is the Boston Celtics on the Eastern Conference. Now, a lot of people who heard that had a lot of different reactions, different emotions. Some people was, if you're a person like looking at Ja Morant who hasn't won anything, you looking at him like, what is he talking about? If you're a Memphis Grizzlies fan, you're saying, okay, that's great. That's great for us because that shows he's confident. You got another person who may say, well, he doesn't see a problem with it because they're young, they're an energetic team, and they're just showing that they're not afraid of anybody. And you got some people who are just looking at Ja just like, yo, what are you doing, man? Here goes this guy again, talking. So we're going to hit all angles of that. So let's get into it. All right. So here's the deal, man. Ja Morant is one of the most confident players in the league, if not the most confident, right? Nothing wrong with being confident. Being at that level he's made it to, you have to be confident. You have to be able to have that it factor, or else you're not going to make it to the league or any competitive sports or even life. You're not going to be able to make it at a high level without having confidence and self-assurance of yourself. That's what it is, self-assurance of yourself and your own abilities and your talents. And if you're in a team sport, confidence within your team. So we all know the Memphis Grizzlies, not only Ja, but guys like Desmond Bane, Dillon Brooks, those guys are very loud with what they believe. Those are the three best players or three of the top players, along with Jaren Jackson as well, who make it very known that they are confident in their team and that they're going to be able to be a problem for years to come. Now, if that may happen, it remains to be seen. A lot of great teams out there. I meant to mention Anthony Edwards, another guy under 25. How I feel about his comments, right? When he sat down and told Malika Andrews what he told him. I think Ja Morant is playing a dangerous game right now. I think Ja Morant is playing a game where he's eyeing for a lot of these teams to come after him. The last two games they played against Western Conference teams, the Golden State Warriors being on Christmas Day and then the Phoenix Suns on Tuesday night, they lost both games handily, I might add, without their two best players. On the Warriors, it was Steph Curry. On the Phoenix Suns, without Devin Booker, who's out for a month with a groin injury. So they got another game tonight against the Raptors in Toronto, and they got to come back home to Memphis. They got to play the Pelicans, which is going to be a tough matchup, and they got the Sacramento Kings, who's a top 5 seed as well. So it's just right on time that Ja Morant said because all he's going to have to prove to these Western Conference teams that what he said is true. And that's my thing about talking. People who are usually confident or cocky, they usually have accolades and awards to back up what they've done. So if we be honest and look at what the Memphis Grizzlies have done, what have they really accomplished? Okay, within the Ja Morant era, first year they did not make the playoffs in the bubble. Second year, Ja Morant was there. They got eliminated in the first round and got in because they played in the play-in game and beat the Warriors with Steph Curry not having his team fully there. The year after that, which was last year, they got to the conference. They got to the conference semifinals where they lost in 6 to the Warriors. And then now they're pretty much a top 3 seed. If I look at that in a 4-year span, that's really just very average at that point. Honestly, it's really average. You made it to 2 playoff appearances. You made it past the first round 1 time and beat a team in Minnesota last season that really gave that series away, if you're going to be honest about it. If anybody watched that series, saw that the Timberwolves lost that game, those games, by not having a high IQ. And not to say that that's Memphis' fault, but what I'm saying is, again, this is very average what Memphis has done. So can you really say that you don't have no competition in the West, being able to go against teams like the Warriors, who just have your number right now, the Clippers, who I think are the best team in the Western Conference, fully constructed? I think there's another team, the Nuggets, who are number 1 in the Western Conference. Without Jamal Murray being 100% and Michael Porter Jr., they're still number 1. Nikola Jokic, 2-time MVP. You got the Pelicans, who are, in my opinion, one of the top young teams that will beat the Grizzlies. Those 4 teams, I believe, will beat the Grizzlies in the 7-game series. Then you got to deal with teams like the Kings. The Phoenix Suns will still be around. You got the Portland Trail Blazers, the Minnesota Timberwolves. You got teams like that who, by all means, will give you a run for your money, who can easily put you out, right? So when I hear Ja say what he said, you want to support him and be like, you know what, that's just him being Ja. He's, a young, energetic kid. But now I'm starting to think this is not even about youth. This is just about who Ja is as a person. Just because you young and like 21, 22 years old, don't mean you got to be a certain way. You know what I'm saying? Don't mean you got to be a person who says stuff that's just out of whack. And I think this is out of whack. I think this is delusional. And I think it's premature. And it's put a target on the Memphis Grizzlies' back. Some people may say, well, this is what we want. Okay, cool. So if they end up getting beat in the first or second round again, no one should bat an eye when people start clowning Ja Morant and the Memphis Grizzlies. Nobody better say, oh, why you hating on the young youth? No, he put that out there. If you're going to put that out there, be man enough to say, okay, we're going to take the backlash. We're going to take the whooping if we lose. If that's as fair as fair. You can't be talking all that mess, and then when somebody calls you out after you don't get the job done, then you want to say, oh, I didn't mean it like that. Why are you getting on me? No, you put it out there. So that's all I ask. I mean, I'm not going to say anything else about this. If Ja says anything else, I'll talk about it. But for this subject right now, what he said, this is the last video I'm going to make about it. I think it's delusional. I think it's premature, but that's how he feels at the end of the day. And I do think the Grizzlies will end up getting humbled again this playoffs this season. So with that being said, you know what I'm saying, continue to follow the Pull Up Basketball Podcast. Like, share, subscribe with your friends. Pull up, pull up, share, pull up. Peace. Out here like swimwear.